I have heard that building a successful restoration company can be challenging. Even more challenging is building one that spans multiple states, employs hundreds of people, serves national clients, and still maintains a strong family culture. Our guest you're going to meet today has spent nearly 3 decades doing just that and growing one of the largest restoration operations in the Southeast. And along the way, he has served as president of RIA, developed a reputation for strategic planning and leadership development, and helped build a company culture rooted in faith, integrity, loyalty, and long term relationships. It's my pleasure to welcome Ben Looper, CEO of Southeast Restoration Group. Ben, always a pleasure to visit with you.
Jeff, great to spend some time with you today. It's always a pleasure to be able to do this with you.
We've had a few interviews in the past, sometimes live at RA show. Let's get to know you and your company a bit. I know a lot of people know you, Ben, but maybe the inside story. Tell us about yourself and how Southeast Restoration got started and where it is today. And feel free to talk about the next generation. I think you've got news.
Thank you. Yes, we do have some news. We just had our first grandson 2 weeks ago, yesterday. So we are excited to have him. As many of you know, Holden, my son, grew up in the business and now works in the business with us. So we don't know what the new grandson Banks, we don't know what that's going to mean for him, but we're excited about the future here at Southeast Restoration. Real quick, I grew up in the construction industry. My best friend's dad was in the construction industry. And then a guy that I went to high school with didn't go to college and decided that he was going to go into the restoration business, which at the time, this was in the early 90s, there was not much of an industry around restoration quite yet. And but he accepted a job, took a job in Florida, went down there and got licensed and learned it, but then moved back because his fiance decided she was not going to move to Florida, and he moved back to start his own restoration company in the mid 90s. And ran into him a couple of times. He knew I'd been around construction. He was just getting started. I was fortunate enough to learn the industry under his tutelage for a couple of years, and then be able to start my own in 1999. So this is our 27th year in the restoration industry, and it is my 32nd year in the industry.
Congratulations on that. It's a good story to start off with, and I'm glad that you have a legacy in the works. Let's talk about this. So Southeast Restoration has grown in from a local operation to a multi-state organization, and as mentioned earlier, with hundreds of team members. Looking back, what were the key decisions and disciplines that allowed you, Ben, to scale successfully without losing control of the business?
Yeah, we have been very fortunate. I am wired and, looked upon as a visionary, been able to see around the corner. It was always the vision not to be in just one market, but to be able to serve multiple communities in our market and be able to travel to and from those within a day's period of time. We are not in the disaster recovery business. We have a different business model, and we want to be able to serve our communities, but we want to be able to do it, especially when they have catastrophe situations with our own teams. And so when something happens in one of our markets, we have multiple team members and trade partners respond to help in those markets, but we don't travel across the country to do disaster recovery. So some of the things that, decisions that were made early on, and we've continued to keep, front and center as our family focused business. We're a growth oriented organization, Christian based business, that we make sure that we are, doing the things that people can go home to their families day in and day out and celebrate with them, and not fear that, them being gone from work an extended period of time is going to affect them. So we keep that focus front and center.
I do want to talk a little bit more about family and the operation there, but first I have to ask about a GOAT culture. I think I came across that in my research. Talk about that. What does that mean in practical terms, and how do you protect culture when you're spread across all these locations?
Our organization has always been a people first organization. I tell people one of our core competencies is extraordinary culture made of remarkable team members, and we do have just that, and that's what we focus on first and foremost. Our core purpose is restoring lives while repairing property, and we want to restore those lives not only internally but externally as well. So our people are first and foremost. We were creating culture before we knew we were creating culture, and then it was other people that told me what an outstanding culture we had, the things that we were doing day in and day out for our people that made our culture. And it came to me one day. I was hearing something about Michael Jordan or Tom Brady or somebody being the GOAT, and everybody told us what a great culture we had from the outside looking in. And so I decided if they were the GOATs of their sports teams and in their professions, maybe we had the GOAT culture. And so we've just built a mantra around that. We've just created a culture guide that helps our team understand what that is, specifically that we go through at our new team member orientation and spend time throughout the year focusing on those areas. But we've got specific programs in our organization that focus on the things that make our team members successful and people first. So that's where the GOAT culture came from.
And I assume it's what we all know from sports, greatest of all time. That's
That's
your
right.
company.
Great. GOAT being greatest of all time. That is exactly right.
Great. I love it. Let's go back to family a little bit. So Southeast Restoration is a family business. Now, besides yourself and your grandson, who's going to eventually be CEO, taking your spot. Talk about your family involved in the operation. What have you learned about balancing that family component, leadership, succession planning, and business growth over the years?
I've been very blessed. So when I think of family, it's not only my internal family, but it's also my external family because we believe in my partners, my team members here at Southeast. We're together as much or more than we're with our own family sometimes. So that we consider each other families and we're there for each other just like we would be. But my wife, after my youngest daughter graduated high school and went on to college, she is helping me from an administrative standpoint part-time. Now she's a grandmother and trying to figure that piece of it out as well with the timing. So we'll see how that goes. My son, like I said, started in the industry and started in the business when he was only 13. I put him on the mitigation truck for the summers and he loved it and never came off of it and just got an incredible work ethic. My oldest daughter, worked in the business with us for a little while and decided it was not for her. She wanted to go in a different direction. So she's successful and with an organization up in Nashville now. And then my youngest daughter is in college and doesn't have any interest. She's going in a different direction. That's fine too. I've told them all from early on, I want to support them in whatever direction they want to go. It just happened my son wanted to be in the industry and loved what we do and who we do it for there. And then again, our external team members, we consider family and want to make sure we're supporting them and their families as well, because when their families aren't happy, it makes it tough on everybody all the way around. So we want to make sure we're supporting them as well.
I don't know, Ben. If I live near you, I might apply for a job. It sounds like a nice operation.
I'd
So
love to have you.
now we're not going to talk about politics, but I do
Okay.
want to talk about faith because faith appears to be a significant part of both your personal life and your company's identity. Talk about that. How has your faith influenced the way you hire, the way you lead, make decisions, and build relationships with employees and clients and customers?
Well, thank you for asking the question. It gets overlooked a lot. We are for focused on our faith here at Southeast Restoration. Have been from the beginning. I was fortunate enough to study Truett Cathy, who is the founder of Chick-fil-A. He's from here in Atlanta and spent a lot of time with that organization and focusing on that. Faith was a foremost strategy in their organization and making sure that they made the decisions. And it has been for us since the beginning. I grew up in the church and was there on Wednesday night, Sunday morning, Sunday nights, and anytime we could be. I credit my parents for that foundation being there, and we've done the same here at Southeast Restoration. We're blessed. We understand that everybody doesn't have that opportunity as forthright as we do. We don't push it on anybody, but we do pray before meetings. We pray before meals. We have open prayer requests that we can send out. We've also got a Southeast Cares program internally for our team members and able to support them. We do give each of our team members 5 mission days to go out and serve on top of whatever their PTO is. So if they'll commit the days to go out and serve for others, we give them additional 5 days to do so. I wish I could report that 100% of our team members are able to do that every year, but it doesn't happen every year. But we've got some remarkable stories that have come back from that. We've got team members, that have circled back around, and from that, we've been able to recruit, from that piece of it. So we are honored to be able to put and unapologetic about our faith here at Southeast Restoration.
Fantastic. You mentioned Chick-fil-A, and in my travels, I know they're closed on Sundays for a reason. Their faith, and they live that. When I go through an airport, Ben, I sometimes see a Chick-fil-A and I think, I wonder if they're open on Sundays in the airport, and they're not. So
Yeah.
that's, yeah,
If,
living your faith.
if you're like me, that's when you crave it the most. Sundays is probably the day that I could use a chicken sandwich or a peach milkshake.
I love Chick-fil-A. I watched that food that built America built. No, the
Yeah.
food that built America. That's it.
On
And
the
The
History
Chick-fil-A
Channel.
part, great story. And I can see why you value that yourself with your family, your company, and good details.
Very blessed. Yes.
Now, you've been an advocate, a strong advocate for leadership development, and often talk about preparing future leaders before they're needed. Now, that's an RA thing, I think, as well. What are the biggest mistakes? Talk about things you've seen that you wish wouldn't happen, restoration owners can make when it comes to developing the next generation.
I think the biggest mistake restoration owners can make is providing their team members the opportunity for development in whatever training aspect and whatever role they may be in, and putting the time and the money, investing that into them. It's always unfortunate when you hear about somebody who didn't get the investment that potentially they needed, and in that role, and they were thrown into the fire, and are out doing the work and doing a good job doing the work, but nobody's looking out for their next steps, what they're doing, and training them to be the best that they can be in whatever role. So it's the investment of time and resources into those team members that I think will make the separate the restoration companies that are successful from some of those that may struggle, being able to develop those team members, especially with the up and coming generations that are here, and the amount of job changes and turnover that we see in the younger generations. I just believe that being able to provide a roadmap of success and the education and the training, knowing that they're getting invested in, gives the company as well as the team member the opportunity to succeed.
Ben, I appreciate the thoughts. Great interview. Last question. Now, you started in business 18 years old.
Yes.
Now, if you could go back in time and talk to yourself back then with what you know now, what would Ben tell Ben Jr.?
That is a great question. I think about it often, and I think we could move the industry and as well as our organization faster if people would take the time. We're in a society where we're faced with instant gratification everywhere we turn, and expectations of getting things done. I think if people would take more time on the front end and prepare and plan well, roadmap, so forth, then I believe you can get faster where you need to go. The quote from Abraham Lincoln, give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I'll spend the first four sharpening my axe. I like to live off of that philosophy. Are you doing the work you need on the front end to save you time on the back end? I believe we could have gotten to where we are quicker if I would have known that earlier on. And I wish sometimes when I see younger or newer companies, coming into play. They want to get in the arena as quick as they can get in the arena and fight all the lions and tigers that they can. And if they just spent some time on the front end getting prepared for what they're getting into, I think we could move the industry as well as each of our organizations along faster.